Good day. My name's James Robertson, and I've recorded this video because I'm approaching your organization with a view to you helping me to secure either a contract or an interim executive position to lead an ERP implementation or an ERP remediation for that matter. I've got a very substantial amount of, I think, is very valuable intellectual property knowledge experience with regard to achieving really high value ERP implementations. And I'd like to just give you a short presentation of what exactly it is that I have to offer, in the hope that you will find a client who's looking for a really top-notch implementation advisor, consultant, project leader. So I'm going to share a few slides with you, and I'll take it from there. I would like to present myself to you as somebody who has, I truly believe, a different and better offer to deliver a high-value strategic ERP outcome to your clients. I want to kick off by talking about the ERP failure rate. And if you go on Google, and I did this a couple of weeks ago, percentage of ERP projects that do not deliver what was promised, and Gartner is saying 55 to 75%. That figure of 75% has been around in response to queries like that for as long as I can remember, certainly 20 years. Some say it's up to 95%. In my own experience, people's expectations are, I guess you could say, dumbed down. And on the other hand, people are cagey about the truth. It's not politic for a CEO to say, you know what, I spent all this money and I'm really not happy with what I've got. I've delivered numerous courses and executive briefings around why your ERP is not delivered and how to fix it. So I've heard CEOs, CFOs, CIOs share with me in those meetings their frustration with their systems, and I've gone in and told them why their systems are not delivering, and I've told them how to fix it. So I'm coming at this topic from a deep understanding of failure and the fact that it is at epidemic levels. I want to suggest that what I call Chief Executive Officer custody, strategic alignment, and precision configuration are essential to achieving a high-value outcome, and that this role that I call the strategic ERP project leader or strategic ERP implementation project leader is absolutely critical. As I say, I've comprehensively documented a whole lot of suboptimal and failed ERP implementations and helped turn them around. So I bring a lot of understanding of this topic to this engagement with you. A couple of successful case studies. James, the auditors, just left after 6 weeks. Last year, they were here for 6 months. They signed off the balance sheet without qualifications for the first time in 15 years. We have masses of management information. Profitability has improved, and we did it with one less bookkeeper. In this case, I was the strategic project leader. I did the precision configuration and the cubic business model, and the project was correctly implemented. And I can do this for any client. Another case, African sales company, from a conference presentation with a client, and I believe that a client doing a joint conference paper is pretty much the greatest testimonial one can get. And you can see all the things that Robert had to say there, summarized by positioned ASCO as an industry leader in the management of information and therefore brand management in this category. And notice his statement that facilitated growth such that a new distribution center was required. In addition to that, they secured the Dior account, which is obviously very prestigious, and that brought about an immediate 12% uplift in revenue. In positioning what I'm offering to you and I'm offering to your clients, I want to put this graph before you. What I've found experientially over the years is that with what I call a precision ERP implementation, and specifically precision configuration, you deliver exceptional strategic competitive business value, but that only happens when you are close to 100% in terms of precision configuration. Most implementations that I've seen are done here. They're not delivering what was promised, and that goes back to that Gartner figure. Gartner is saying the majority of ERP implementations are down here somewhere. I'm saying I know how to get it up there. So why do I say that we need CEO sponsorship? And I'm saying that only the CEO can be the sponsor for the ERP project, because the CEO owns the integrated holistic view of the business, and the ERP is cross-cutting. It branches and impacts every facet of the business. And I'm saying that the CEO needs an expert advisor who taps in at the executive level, either as an interim executive or on a contract basis, in this role that I've called strategic project leader, reporting directly to the CEO and with leadership oversight over the whole ERP implementation. And I stress leadership, not administration, not project management. I am such a person. And I suggest CEO sponsorship assisted by a strategic project leader is absolutely non-negotiable for a high-value outcome. A little bit about myself. I'm a professional engineer. So I bring an engineering approach to ERP. I have a grounding in economics. I was a military commander in the South African part-time forces. We had conscription, so I had to do it for 4 years. So I know what it's like to manage an organization of over 500 people who don't want to be there. Also exposed to the native filing system during my progression in the organization. First ERP was built from scratch, so I've learned a lot about ERPs. I've been involved with ERPs right from the beginning. I've consulted on many ERP implementations, as I said earlier. I've written many papers. I've presented at many conferences, and I've spent more than 1,000 hours in unremunerated R&D and presented courses on ERP effectiveness, etc. And I've learned repeatedly that an ERP exceptionally well implemented creates substantial differentiated value. I bring thought leadership, and I'm a strategic thinker. Collectively, this knowledge experience underpins a different and better approach to ERP, and I'm therefore suggesting that I'm the right person for your clients. What do I mean by the strategic project leader? Well, I talk about strategy, and many years ago, I wrote a paper on the importance of aligning IT ERP with business strategy, tried to define strategy in one sentence, couldn't do it. Came across the work of Professor Malcolm MacDonald, who says that strategy is doing the right things from the customer's perspective, and tactics is doing things right. Malcolm goes on to say, if you do the right things well, your organization will thrive, and that's where my logo comes from. If you do the right things not so well, your organization will survive. If you do the wrong things, your organization will die. It's just a matter of how quickly. And so I'm about helping clients to thrive by doing the right things well with the ERP. And I believe, and I submit for your consideration, that the strategic ERP project leader role is absolutely critical for that. My definition of strategy, I came across Malcolm's work. I then came across the work of Professor Michael Porter from Harvard Business School and Dr. Michel Robert from Decision Processes International. And I eventually synthesized my own definition of strategy as being the essence of why the organization exists and how it thrives. Intuited by the founders, subsequent executives need to discover it. It's not invented. It virtually never changes. Strategy is a holistic, integrated picture of how the entire organization fits together and interoperates with the external environment to produce a thrive outcome. And that's a highly differentiated and highly profitable outcome. Testimonial from Professor MacDonald. I'd hesitate to call him a friend, but we do have lunch from time to time, and I certainly greatly esteem him. He's now 87. But he's an international authority on strategy, so I think that if he says that he improves of my methods, that's quite an accolade, and I really believe I can make a difference to your client. So if I'm appointed, or when I'm appointed. I will kick off by a series of interviews, and I will follow that with a series of workshops on these various topics, and possibly further workshops, so that I've got a clear strategic definition of what the business is after with the ERP investment, so that the procurement and everything is framed from a strategic point of view, what's required for the organization to thrive. A supporting expertise that I bring is what I call precision configuration. And I just want to position that by addressing the relationship between ERP and people. So the ERP collects, collates, summarizes, synthesizes, and presents information. It's processing transactions for the most part. And then you've got the data warehouse and the business intelligence layer, etc., and they all present information. People interpret the results, they take decisions, and they take action. And that's the importance of precision configuration to facilitate ease of interpretation, leading to value-added actions. And you could say that AI can do that at an operational level. I'm sure it can at a strategic level. I remain to be convinced. So our goal is right decisions. The fundamental challenge is to get the right information to the right person at the right time in order to make the right decision in order for the organization to thrive. That's what delivers real value, thrive decisions. The CEO and ExCo input is critical, and it must be facilitated by the strategic project leader. Poor quality data is a major factor in bad business decisions. Here's an example of a really weak chart of accounts. A large multinational company. CEO was relying on 4 accountants, senior accountants, very well paid, to work three weeks a month with big spreadsheets, putting the board pack together because he couldn't get out the information he needed out of his SAP R3 investment because it was so badly configured. And here you can see the chart of accounts. Here we've got plant spares, and down here we've got food stuff, and there's absolutely no logic in that list. It means that if somebody adds something to that list, any report that was picking stuff out is broken. It's difficult to write even simple reports, and complex reports and models become hugely complicated, and it's what I call sloppy configuration. A few examples that I've facilitated, and these are just the headings, not the full detail down to the posting level. They're tuned to the specific requirements of each client. They're highly structured, easy to interpret, and they deliver masses of high quality management information. So to sum up on on precision configuration, the strategic executive view of the business encapsulated in the data, presentation, roll up and drill down, logical, intuitive, and fast operationally, reporting streamlined the operational efficiencies, and so forth. Everything is easier, faster, better. And it's all about the intellectual nous that I bring to engage with the client, define the business, remember the essence of the business and how it thrives, and capture that in the configuration of the ERP. Procurement, well, not all of your clients are going to want somebody to help with procurement. Some of them will have already made buying decisions and commitments. And likewise, some of them may come to you saying, look, our present system's really not working very well. Do you have somebody who can help us fix it? And the answer to that is, I can certainly help them to fix it. But let's talk about the situation where it's procurement, and that must be driven by the strategic project leader, must be strategically aligned, the CEO must be involved. I offer a rigorous tender process, a proven document pack. And the thing to remember is that when a company buys a new ERP, you're looking at a 20+ year marriage. In fact, ideally, you never want to change ERP once you've bought it. So it's worth making sure you get the right ERP, that you get the right implementer, and that's really well implemented. And that's my forte. That's what I do. As an engineer, I bring a very robust view to procurement. And what I'm offering is a process and tool set to get the right software from the right implementer at a good fixed price with a good relationship and a tough contract before the contract is signed. There's a list of the standard documents that I offer, all of which have been designed and developed and proven over many years. To sum up, a few of my clients, and as you'll notice, most of them are in South Africa. So let's talk about the South African connection. You've probably picked up by now, if you didn't before the slide I've just shown you, but from my references, etc., testimonials, that I am ex-South African. So most of my career was in South Africa. I started my business in 1989. I inherited British citizenship in 2012, and I came to the UK in 2013 because of some really unpleasant events, and I found it impossible to break into the UK consulting market. I just didn't know the market. So I worked as a chief operating officer for a number of years, and then in 2023, I secured a long-term assignment, and I went back on my own, coming back to my methods that I'm offering you today, based on a number of years working in the UK environment and seeing that what I had to offer was still valid and still valuable in the UK environment. So I'm very confident that my methods are highly valuable and competitive in the UK and, in fact, internationally. So to sum up, suboptimal implementation outcomes are prevalent. I know why and I know how to prevent it. An ERP is transversal and it impacts every area of the organization. So the CEO must be the custodian. The CEO doesn't have the time and the knowledge. The CEO needs a strategic project leader to support. Quality of data is critical. I bring absolutely leading edge thinking with regard to precision configuration, and buying the right product and implementing it well is absolutely key, and I can help with that. So I want to suggest for your consideration that I'm not the run-of-the-mill contractor interim executive. I offer much greater value than the norm, and I'm happy to engage with you in more detail to understand that. I've got detailed presentations to back up pretty much everything that I'm saying. My contact details, please don't hesitate to contact me on any of those channels. I'm extremely confident that I can offer your clients the absolute best ERP implementation outcome, and I can also provide a similar service to comprehensively remediate an existing substandard ERP. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and I truly believe that what I offer represents exceptional value to the right client. I look forward to having a Zoom, Teams, or in-person meeting with you to discuss my candidates. As I said, I'm very happy to meet with you in person if it's logistically practical. If it's not logistically practical, absolutely happy to meet with you on Teams or Zoom at your convenience so that you can interrogate me further. So you've got this recording, which is a very condensed version of a very large subject. As I say, I've got a number of presentations which deep dive into the various aspects that I've spoken about. Happy to share those with you, although I suspect that what I've shared with you here is probably sufficient for your role as a recruiter and for an initial display to prospective clients, just to get me into an initial meeting. When it comes to clients, I've learned over the years, and particularly in the pre-post lockdown thing, that the chemistry in a face-to-face meeting is much different and much stronger than in a Zoom call or a Teams meeting. So while I'm quite happy to meet on Teams or Zoom, if there's an opportunity to meet the client face to face, I would really love to avail myself of that opportunity. And I hope this has given you a bit of an idea about what I can do. And as I said, I'm absolutely happy to meet with you. However, for you to understand more about me so that you feel confident putting me forward to your customers. So that's it. Thanks so much. Bye.